the woman or whomever always has to modify their behavior. The other person, it seems like, oh, well, they're expected to do that, so you need to modify that. And so that was my big point about, when are we going to stop with this, like, part of the conversation that's unproductive and saying, well, she should not have, done this, or she shouldn't have stayed. And then like, well, how about he, like, chill the hell out and not stick his fingers repeatedly in another person's mouth?
Ugh, that was so gross.
Welcome, Lindas.
What's up?
Hi.
Howdy.
All right, welcome to A Couple Lindas, because we're all just a bunch of Lindas out here trying to figure out life, and what better way to do that than through libations and conversation. With me, I have got a couple of friends. I've got Beth, who is I don't know, what is your title? What would you say you...
It depends on the day.
Depends on the day.
Yeah. Real job. I'm a client services specialist.
And our other guest is Beard.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Who is the general manager of our local favorite watering hole.
Oh, thank you.
Welcome. And I, of course, am Desiree, a host and all that good stuff. So, what is putting a smile on your face this week?
Finally got my new schedule at the pub set up to where I'm actually scheduled under 50 hours a week.
Hey!
For the first time in 5 years.
And we're all very thankful for that, by the way.
Yeah.
Taking a bit of stress off of me, getting me a little bit more free time. I can actually get out one day during the week now.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Yeah, because I think the only time I ever see you out is like late
Oh, yeah.
evening afterwards,
Yeah,
or
it's
like
been after
Sunday.
midnight or Sundays. So
Yeah.
and now, Thursday nights, I can go hit happy hour.
Hey!
On the other side of the bar.
What? All right, what's putting a smile on your face, Beth?
Oh, well, I have two.
Okay.
Inside.
Yay.
So, for those of you that know me, I have a dog. And he's the best dog in the world. And he's kind of strange. And he loves snow. So Saturday when we woke up and, there was all that snow from the snowstorm, he wanted to go out every 5 minutes and lick the snow and come inside. So I'd let him out and he'd go out and lick the snow and he would come inside. And we did this for like an hour and I finally cut him off because I'm a horrible parent.
Also, it's like super cold outside.
Yeah. So that makes me happy. And my parents, had a situation arise this past Friday, and my mom leapt into action, and she was great, and it's just handling stuff, like a freaking pro, and it's great.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And lucky for your pup, there's more snow, or as I should say, is ice. There's more ice on the way this week, so good for you. Good luck with that. I'm
Thanks.
staying inside.
Yeah. Well, he will
to
not
be.
be. He'll be begging by the door.
All right, what's making me happy and putting a smile on my face this week is it's award season, which means decent movies actually come to town, the local movie theater. It's been like a complete drought all summer. But with the Golden Globes, all the movies that were nominated, a lot of them came to the theater like all at once. So I think I was in the movie theater 3 times last week.
Girl.
It's awesome.
I'm pretty pumped about that. I'm a major movie freak, have always been. So it was nice to get a chance to see some things that I liked.
What'd you see?
I saw, oh my God, 3 billboards outside Ebbing, Missouri.
Mm-hmm.
That movie, so the trailer, what I love about it is that the trailer gave nothing away. You know how sometimes or usually you see a trailer and like, well, I saw all the good parts, I need to see the movie.
80% of the movie's over.
Yeah, the trailer just kind of gave you the setup of, why this woman put up these billboards. The actress Frances McDormand, just incredible. But when you actually earn the film, you're like, what the hell is going on? Yeah, so yeah, that was very entertaining. I know that there's a lot of conflicting thoughts on that film, but I just thought it was wild, and I would definitely see it again. It's not like the best film that's ever been made, but I thought it was very entertaining. Also saw The Post, about the Washington Post and the Pentagon Papers. Something that was pointed out to me is that I always like to think, I'm like every generation. Like I can kind of fit in every age group, every decade. I kind of know like what I'm talking about. I knew nothing about what was going on in the 70s regarding news, politics. Like I know Watergate happened and all that kind of stuff, but this definitely showed my age in that I was very ignorant about what was going on in that time period, as some fellow friends pointed out to me. So thank you to those friends. Because I say that because I didn't care much for the plot of the movie, and that's mostly just because I wasn't familiar with the significance of all the roles in political events in our country. And then the other one was the Winston Churchill film Darkest Hour, which was actually pretty good. Did you see Dunkirk?
I did. That was a
Yeah.
great movie.
Yeah. So then I would definitely go see this one.
Okay.
Because I didn't see Dunkirk, and there was like a lot of reference to that battle, and so I was like, oh, well, I didn't know there was a prerequisite for watching this film.
I didn't do my homework.
I didn't do my homework. Like again, it keeps happening. So I'm gonna get my life together here in the next few weeks, and then like I'll be able to move on. So the subject at hand. I wanted to talk to the two of you because, there's been a lot of accusations running around since in a post-Weinstein world where it's finally coming to light some of the behaviors that men have, some of the sexual aggressiveness. So with the latest one being Aziz Ansari was accused, and just in case you have not been aware, there was an article that came out Saturday where this young woman wrote an article or sent in to, I think the website was called babe.com,
Yeah.
about how she went on a date with Aziz Ansari, and it went very sexually aggressive very quickly. And
it was the worst night of her life.
Quote, worst night of her life. And so there's been, if you look at the comments from the article, there's just a lot of discussion about, it just seems like a lot of people on the fence about, I guess victim blaming her versus, he should know better. But mostly what you'll hear is, victim blaming. So I wanted to talk to people who, date, who are out here, who are, navigating these spaces, and also wanting to talk to a guy about, what, do you understand where these guys are coming from, like from this story? Is this something that you have done and you later realize like, oh my God, like, you only know what you know, right? And it's a matter of people kind of waking up and realizing, oh, okay, wow,
That's inappropriate. I shouldn't do that.
soups, totes, inappropriate. So I wanted to just kind of have an open, honest, conversation. No one's gonna, jump down on people. I specifically chose people that are pretty, even keel. So I'll start with you, Beard. What was your take on this whole situation? And again, for listeners, this is not about who is right or wrong. We're using this as an example of maybe how we should talk to young men about, navigating sexual experiences or whatever. So, Beard, what was your take on this?
Based on the account, it seemed from like the get-go, like, they sat down and he ordered for her. It was like he was trying to be in control from day one, which, some people are into that. Some people liked, I don't want to make any decisions on this day. We'll go for whatever. But, she didn't seem to feel that way later. Like, she should have spoke up. I know she did speak up the entire night. She even said, I don't like red wine. I like white. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it just felt like he was going to ignore that no matter what she did. Mm-hmm. And so I just think you could see it starting at the dinner. And then, once they got back to the room, of course, cool, things can happen. But, when somebody says slow down, it's time to slow down. It's time to stop.
Yeah. Yeah. What about you, Beth?
I've been not dreading this all day, but I have very mixed feelings about it.
Yeah.
Because part of me, I read it initially and sped through it because I just kept waiting for her to like get out of the situation because it just kept getting worse and he wasn't listening. And I just thought, get out of there. Like you shouldn't be there for an hour. You shouldn't be performing oral sex if you're that uncomfortable. Like we have to know how to get ourselves out of situations like that. But I think too, he should have listened. And when she realized he wasn't, I mean, she told him 2 or 3 times,
Yeah.
and he said, okay, we'll go sit and chill on the couch. Nothing changed. So girl, get out of there. Like
Yeah.
he's nothing, at that point, nothing's going to change.
Yeah.
So I just have mixed feelings. And
Well, and that's the whole point. Like, no person is like, everyone played their role in that scenario where, maybe had it been a perfect scenario or situation where you felt more confident, then, things would have gone differently. But let's use this as an example to see how, what keeps a woman there. She kept saying, well, I didn't leave because I felt pressured. Like, have you... So in my own experience, on first dates, I'd rather not get that physical, like a kiss, like, yeah, that would be great. But so often it does lead to, next steps. And although I would prefer it didn't, I wasn't completely against it. So it wasn't that they were very aggressive. It was just that, well, we're kind of here, so I'll guess I'll go ahead. But meanwhile, on the inside, I do wish that we had stopped. Or just like, hey, like, let's, check this and then we'll catch up tomorrow and then we'll, go on another date. And so I always kind of wonder about in those situations where it is more aggressive, like what's going through one's head, And also from the guy's perspective, is it really that you just don't realize that,
Sometimes signals are missed. I mean, direct words are always the best approach. I mean, I personally ask, before we go to the next step from, like, hey, are you cool doing this? And if I ever hear anything no or negative, I'm like, cool, let's step back.
Yeah.
I mean, mom raising me, she's always like, respect women. They're always in control. If they ever say no, back away. So I don't know if I was lucky being raised that way or if, mom was just a great woman.
And so what in your, I guess, dating experience, how did you, like, of course the first foundation was your mother teaching you that, but then also, being a young man out there in the world and kind of finding your way and realizing, oh, okay, this is what mom was talking about, making mistakes. Like, can you kind of walk us through your growth from there?
Yeah, I mean, there was times, especially, when I was in my 20s, drunk a lot, and then, like, hey, our date was going to the bar.
Yeah.
And then getting home somehow. And then you're home and you've both been drinking, consent's really kind of out of the window at that point from either side.
Yeah.
And, it's just like, cool. And, just went. And you wake up the next morning and you're both looking at each other like, what exactly happened?
right.
And so, I learned from that, later on now, is like first dates are not to get drunk.
Yeah.
Once you get 6-7 months in, then yeah, you can get, hammered all as you want.
Yeah.
But as you're getting to know somebody and, get to understand boundaries between people, the more sober you are, the better.
Yes.
Unless you can talk about it in advance too.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, we're going to go out and drink, and how far do you want to go tonight? And know the boundaries before you even start drinking.
Yeah. What about you, Beth?
What was the question again?
The question is, let's chart the journey of I guess the question for you would be a little different than it would be for a guy. With you, it's how have you gone through and gained the confidence from maybe the decisions that you would make today versus the decisions you would have made, like 10 years ago, when you were dating. How have you seen yourself progress?
I think I'm very more aware of my surroundings. I mean, when I would go out with my girlfriends when we were, newly 21 or 22, like we always stuck together, especially like we went out in Nashville or something like that. Like you're aware of your surroundings. Yeah, we might be fairly intoxicated, but like I stuck together with my girlfriends and that was my safety net. But now, I mean, I guess I just don't allow myself, to maybe put myself in that situation.
Yeah.
I mean, I just try to be very aware, and I'm not saying that every man is out there looking for something bad. But there are bad guys out there. And
Yeah.
I think, I mean, I've learned to listen to my gut. Like, if I get a good feeling from you, sure, we'll talk, we'll text, whatever. But, I mean, if I get a hinky feeling, I'm not going to put myself in a situation to meet you for a drink and then maybe, something bad could happen later.
Yeah.
I don't know, just try to be aware.
Yeah. Growing up, were you always kind of told, like, okay, these are the things you need to make sure that you watch out for?
Not really. In my family, like, we never had the sex talk. We never, really discussed dating. Like, I wasn't allowed to date till I was 16. And then
Yeah.
I dated the same guy for like 2.5 years. But I think through my friends, I think I learned from them, what not was okay, but I don't know, just to be aware.
Yeah.
I guess that's my biggest thing. Just be aware, trust your gut. If something doesn't feel right, regardless of what it is, whether it's, a date with a guy or, accepting a new job or, I mean, even like getting up and running one morning. I mean, if you feel weird about it, like take a step back, think about it, ask yourself why you feel weird, and then move forward.
Yeah, so the thing about this, in this scenario with Aziz, is that, he is this, like, nice guy. This is his shtick. Like, that's what he's known for. And so she kind of went with it, assuming that, yeah, that there would be no problem. And that it's always like this, oh, this nice guy, like, nothing's going to happen. But then it did. Things changed. And so you are sitting there just kind of bewildered. So, from her account, it just seemed like she was sitting there with this, I can't believe this is happening, instead of, thinking of like, I need to get out of here.
Right.
And so also, again, I don't think he is, this, big predator. I think it's more of, I don't know, just uneducated in how to navigate. I don't know. Because you would think a guy like this dates, he knows how to, hang out with women, no big deal. But evidently not.
Yeah, I mean, there are people who, dated for 20 years, still have no clue. And I'll see it occasionally at the pub, like, oh, wow, you're on a first date. You're doing, okay. First date, but you're still doing that. We talked about this, man.
Yeah.
We've had this conversation. Well, and I mean, I do think it's interesting that she did say, he was a super nice person, on TV, but TV is not reality. Like, he's paid to pay, or he's paid to play a certain type of character. That may not be who he is in real life.
Yeah. And it's almost like the whole idea of, like, with social media, like, that's just kind of your highlight reel. That's who you want people to think you are. Meanwhile, maybe you're posting all these photos of everything's great and cheery and you're going on trips. Meanwhile, you're like dealing with crippling depression, because why would you put that out there?
Yeah.
Right.
His forcefulness, and, please, be honest. I don't know if you have any friends who have dealt with any kind of assault, like, myself personally. I think probably 80%, 90% of the people I know have dealt with some sort of sexual assault. And so have had to, deal with that, as well as deal with the victim shaming of it, as well as trying to learn how to navigate, things. And so maybe they overcorrect and just don't, take chances with any kind of advances, or I don't know. But what sucks is that the woman or whomever has been more prone to be assaulted always has to modify their behavior. The other person, it seems like, oh, well, they're expected to do that, so you need to modify that. And so that was my big point about, talking about this story when I posted it on Sunday, was that, when are we going to stop with this, like, part of the conversation that's unproductive and saying, well, she should not have, done this, or she shouldn't have stayed. And then, like, well, how about he, like, chill the hell out and not stick his fingers repeatedly in another person's mouth?
Ugh, that was so gross. I think I would have bit them off. Like, I really think I just would have just chomped down.
Well, I think I would have said, like, oh,
What the heck?
Dude, what do you?
First of all, no. And second of all, like, when's the last time you washed your hands and you're putting them in my mouth?
Right.
I mean,
So, Beard, like, have you been somewhere hanging out with, a couple of your guy friends and you just hear a story or something and you're just like, when was the first time that it hit you like, whoa, like that's not cool. I can't believe you did that.
Yeah, probably my mid to late 20s. It was, it wasn't really friends. It was, I've got bar friends, as I call them.
Yeah.
People I only see at bars. We don't have each other's phone number. We don't hang out unless we run into each other at a bar, and we never make plans
Yeah.
to hang out at the bar. But I've heard, them bragging about, hey, got her drunk last night, got to take her home. And I'm just like, why? Why would you do that?
Yeah.
It's like, it's, yeah, another notch in the belt is one thing, but at least earn it.
Yeah.
at least to work for it.
So, and you hear that story and you're just like, you hear one of your friends, talking like, hey, my other friend is going to go out with this guy. I'm like, don't.
Okay.
I'm like, why not? I was like, because all he's going to do is get him drunk and take him home.
Yeah.
And then that's going to be it. I'm like, suggest to your friend not to. I mean, I'm one person. My word, doesn't mean much.
Yeah.
But I've heard this and, I didn't know the person going out with him, so I couldn't really go to her.
Right.
Hey, you don't know me, but
Yeah.
Do not go out with that guy.
But I mean, once you hear the story, you look at a person a little differently, especially if they're the one telling it and bragging about it. Then I'm just like, nah, man, I don't want to hang out with you anymore.
right.
Yeah.
I'm going to find a new bar for a couple weeks.
Right. Well, okay, so a lot of times what we'll do is like, I don't want to be affiliated with that guy. So that guy then continues like with his behavior because he's gone unchecked, right? So I think what needs to happen is that, we as, people need to start saying, hey, man, what you just did, the story you just told, that's not cool. What happened with I don't know, but that's a tough thing to navigate because you don't want it to be this, he said, she said situation or like, approaching some person like completely unprompted. And so how do we navigate this? Is it more so when we see it, say something? Or I guess that kind of train of thought of if you see if you were to see one of your girlfriends, hanging out with this one guy that is a predator, like, do you say something?
I think so, absolutely. I mean, but I think, I hate the he said, she said, because, with social media, I could call you, a sexual predator, and it would be all over the place in a matter of minutes.
Yeah.
But I think I would look at my girlfriend or whomever and just say, hey, listen, I've heard stuff about this person, male or female, you need to talk to them. Like, you need to bring it up and ask them before you date them. I mean, this is information I have. It could be true. It could not be true. But like, y'all need to have that discussion. Yeah. Because
or maybe just like be careful, and if you see signs of it, then hey, why? What are you doing? Why are you doing that?
Yeah.
Because it's more about, to me, alerting someone of someone's behavior is more so you don't want to go in there and like, oh, you can't date this person,
right?
Because they're going to be defensive. Mm-hmm. But just kind of, I guess, arm them with information. What they do with it is, their prerogative. But just, I would rather at least be aware of someone's past behavior so that when I see something, I won't just think, oh,
Well, that's a one-time thing.
Yeah.
yeah. I'm like, or I'll just realize, oh, okay, this is actually a pattern.
Yeah.
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 So let's get into just dating culture in general.
Yeah. It's my favorite subject.
Favorite. So dating is the worst, obviously. With the addition of apps, being able to at least people that you wouldn't run into in your day-to-day life, you have, I guess, access to run across them, right? So you got Tinder, you got OkCupid, Plenty of Fish, all the other ones. Like, I'm out of touch, and Bumble and all that stuff. But there is this hookup culture, and then it feels like people aren't necessarily interested in relationship. It's more just kind of hookup. And so that's a lot of times where the lines get crossed. So, is this going to be a purely sexual situation or, so people are coming to the mat and with, varying expectations, Right. So what's been your experience with dating in the, I don't know, is it the, what do you call these, the 2010s?
Yeah.
Do you want to start? Flip a
really?
coin.
No.
I mean, I can start. So I've done Tinder and Bumble. And then I did Match.com for a little bit. And I'm on eHarmony currently. And my thought process was, well, if people are paying for it, like, surely they're looking for something serious. Ugh.
No.
No. And it, I mean,
Absolutely not.
it's-
Lies.
yeah, no, it's absolutely exhausting. Because, you know, I put time and effort like into my profile. I mean, not a whole lot, but I mean, like half the dudes just put like a bunch of dots where it says about me, like dot dot dot. Like you can't think of anything to say about yourself.
Right.
So like at that point, they're not putting forth effort. So I block them.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people like that are just going for a numbers game.
You're right. Well, and I have not been on Tinder in a hot minute. I've been on eHarmony for about a year, and you know, I've met some men. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the stories are kind of basically all the same, though. Let's see, the last guy. No, not the last guy, but the guy before that I went on a date with. We talked a lot for, I don't know, like 3 or 4 weeks. And, you know, we talked on the phone every day, which I thought was great because he's like 5 hours away. He drove here to meet me because, like, I'm not traveling because I want to stay in my hometown. I feel safer. And we met and went on a date. And he told me that I was too high energy and too close to my family.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, remember that Friday I came in?
Yeah.
And to me, I was just like, I don't understand that. First of all, I'm actually fairly lazy. And second of all, like, I mean, my parents are kind of awesome. My
They are
family's
cool.
pretty cool. Right. Like, I don't understand being too close to your family. I mean, and it's not like they can, like, knock on my door and, like, hi, honey, here's breakfast. Like,
Okay. I'm probably gonna get completely like lambasted for this, but like that's something that I have noticed here is like people are like super into their family. Like super into their family. Like I love my family.
Oh, yeah.
But you people love like y'all are obsessed with each other. And it's not a bad thing. It's not.
No, it's great, but I mean, there's a lot of people, you know, within 6 months of meeting them, all of a sudden, now their siblings and their parents.
Yep.
And I'm like, man, y'all are a really tight family. That's
Yeah.
great.
That's great.
and the thing
But-
is, like,
But
I mean,
it's not
different.
it's not
it's-
everyone's norm.
Yeah,
right.
It's
And
different from where I grew up.
I mean, I'm close to my family, but like I don't talk to my parents every day. I met this man right before Thanksgiving, and Thanksgiving is a crazy time for my family. We have like 40 people that come in. My house
yeah.
turns into a sorority house because of all the girl cousins. So I mean, yeah, I guess I was going back and forth with them because I get to see him like once a year. But
Yeah.
I mean,
No, I totally get it.
it's just
No.
it was just a very strange out. I would much
That's
rather.
what he used.
Yeah, like okay, thank you. High energy.
Like whatever.
But
I'm
I mean,
actually kind of lazy.
yeah.
That's hilarious.
I mean, it's true. But I don't know, like I guess the trend I've noticed is men just can't be honest. Like if I'm talking to a dude and there's just not a whole lot there. You know, we can't carry on a conversation. I'm just like, hey, listen, thanks for reaching out, but I mean, sure we can meet up for coffee, but like I don't see this going anywhere. You know, because I'm a nice person. But most guys just, you know, they disappear because it's easier.
They ghost.
Oh, yeah.
They do. And I think
All right.
Beard's like, I've done it.
I've done it and I've had it done to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ghosted.
Yeah.
Well, and I think the other issue, you know, men can't just like, no offense, sack up and be honest. But also, I think they're always looking for the next best thing because there are so many dating apps. I mean,
Yeah.
there's, I don't know, I should have done some research for this, but I mean, there's a ton. And so if they're on like 5 or 6, I mean, yeah, I'm a blonde Southern kid, but they could get, you know, 50 other of me. So why settle for this one who's not perfect and a little, not crazy, just a little high
Quirky.
energy,
Quirky.
high energy,
High energy,
or whatever.
allegedly.
Why not? Yeah, let's go on a date. It's great. Nice to meet you, but I'm gonna date this other girl because she looks better than you. You know, it's an awesome process. I love it.
Beard rebuttal. The question is why can't men be honest?
Oh wow! Didn't expect that question. It's the culture. You're not allowed to show vulnerability. I mean, whole life, got to be strong. Oh, you're crying. What's wrong? Why are you so weak?
Ugh, I hate that.
Oh, you got hurt. What happened? And emotional feelings. No, you're not allowed to share those anywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what psychologists is for. And then you don't tell anybody you're seeing them.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to keep everything buried and hidden. I mean, it's just the culture we live in.
Yeah.
At least here. I mean, I'm sure it's better other places, but
Or even worse in different ways in other cultures. But I mean that kind of is definitely the base of a lot of some these things is the what's the word, like toxic masculinity, but also guys not being allowed to be vulnerable. There was an article that I kind of ran across a few months ago that talked about how men aren't allowed to have these deep friendships. Like after a certain age, they're supposed to like not be that close to other guys, and how so many men have been, there's a lot of internalized hurt because of that, and how the rate of suicide in men rises as they get older because they feel cut off and disconnected from a true and deep friendship. And so often what happens is the only person that they are allowed to, and even if that person allows them, allowed to confide in is a partner, a girlfriend, or, whatever. And that doesn't need to be the case. People need to have multiple outlets. Just like women have these deep friendships with each other, men should be allowed to do that. And I think more and more as there are discussions about this, I think you guys need to say fuck it to society and like start like, because I'll go to the pub and I'll see like there's these packs of men that are hanging out. I don't know how close or deep their friendships are, but I'm just excited to see that okay, they do have each other, because as the years go on, I don't know, I just want everyone to have someone. But yeah, but as a guy, like, how do you see this kind of being fixed? Do you think it's possible in our lifetime?
It's basically just going to have to be teaching the next generations that it's okay. So you're going to have to make the effort on your own, and you're going to have people that you're friends with. You're like, hey man, I've got this issue, and like, man, I'm busy today.
Yeah.
And then you've got other friends, like, hey man, I've got this issue. Cool, let's go. And go to the bar, or go to play a game. Load up in the truck and just go riding around for a couple hours and talk.
Yeah.
And I'm lucky enough. I've got 3 or 4 people that I can do that with.
Yeah.
That can do that to me as well.
So you're saying it's about just kind of being intentional with those people.
Yeah.
Like if your guy, if one of your guys calls up and like, hey man, like I need to talk, like, drop what you're doing and actually go talk to them, because you never know. That's what we do for each other. Like, oh my God, like,
Hey, I fell and broke my leg. All right, I'll see you at the ER. I mean,
I'm on my way.
yeah, that was, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Just had that conversation. But I think it's, I think what you said is, hitting the nail on the head is do it with intention. I mean, hang out with somebody with intention, not necessarily just because something is wrong. I mean, reach out to those people that, you are really good friends. You haven't seen each other. Things are crazy busy, but keep those close friendships, because you may have a spouse, you may have, girlfriend or boyfriend, but I don't believe that should be your end all be all. I think that you need an outlet outside of that. I think it's healthy. But also I wonder too, sometimes if men don't feel like they can hang out just like one-on-one, because, it might be seen that, they're a couple. And I think in this town, I feel like it would be hard.
I've got somebody I call a work husband. And everybody that sees us out and about in town together, 'cause we'll get out together a lot, on Sundays or Mondays.
Yeah.
Just the 2 of us. And I'll say it out loud. It's my work husband.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, cool, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
This is my go-to dude. Also, like there's some friends that I've, because I always just kind of watch and pay attention, and what I love seeing is that, these guys are affectionate with one another, like, because, we're all pretty affectionate. Like we show up for dinner, we usually kind of go around, hugs, all that good stuff. And when we say goodbye, it's hugs and all that good stuff. And so, but rarely do you see men do that, with one another. They'll hug the women, but they rarely will hug each other.
Like shake a hand.
The fist bump, the handshake, the bro hug, where you start with a handshake, pull in, pat the back twice, and then push away.
Yeah.
That's enough.
That's enough. But recently I've been privy to guys that are giving each other actual hugs, hey man, you are my, you're my brother, you're my dude, yeah. And I just thinking wow, that is so progressive.
Well,
I love that.
Congratulations.
Yes, you have broken through all of these bullshit societal norms. So,
Well, to tag, before we move on from the comment about men not being able to show emotion, one of my cousins actually, family, over Thanksgiving made this comment. I mean, he's young. I think he's 20 or 21 now. But we actually lost a cousin a while ago, and this male cousin was saying, we talked about it at Thanksgiving for the first time, because last the one before that we were just kind of dealing with it for the first time, and this time we talked about it, and the cousins sat around and shared memories and stories, and it was really cool. And one of my male cousins made he made the point. He said, I'm expected not to show emotion. He said, but I have to grieve about this. He said, I have to. He said, because if I don't, I'm not handling it. I'm not dealing with it. He said, it's just not healthy for me to be like that. And I wanted to get up and go hug him. I was so proud that he came to that realization on his own. Hey, it's okay for me to show emotion. It's okay for me to be upset about this. Well, hell yeah, it's okay. I mean, you can go punch a wall, or I don't know, be angry about it, cry about it, just handle it. Don't just shove it down, because then it comes up later and it's super unhealthy, and you may be handling it in a way that it just isn't good. I mean, it could come out later in alcoholism or some kind of, addiction in that way.
Yeah, it manifests in a negative way. So getting back to, so vulnerability, right? Guys are not allowed to be vulnerable. And so I was reading also about there was a post that went around about, these are 10 things that you can do to make your man feel loved. These are all the things women are supposed to do. And it's oh my God. But yeah, a lot of the posts from women were okay, I do all of that, but I still get nothing. And okay, so Jay-Z, Beyonce, right? He finally came to the realization of he has not been able, he cheated on Beyonce.
Why?
Why?
Yeah, I mean, why?
Are you out of your mind? And it was because of his own pent up emotion that he had never been able to deal with, stuff with his father, growing up, and toxic masculinity. But he did finally, realize what is going on, and he's working on it. Like you said, Beard, about hey, you figure it out. Maybe you're not allowed to talk about it with other people. If you go see a therapist, a psychologist, whatever, as long as you're doing something. No, it doesn't need to be on your sleeve, but do something. So going back to with dating and relationships, with knowing this in yourself, that you have to almost not necessarily walk around with a mask, but how do you navigate, trying to hold up what you're supposed to, allegedly, quote, supposed to be, versus, hey, there's this woman that I really want to, connect with, get to know, and be vulnerable with?
See, I don't know. No, I mean, I've always done stuff with my hands. I mean, bartender, I've done carpentry before that. I've worked at a gas station, a mechanic shop. And I was cool, I'm masculine. Now we can actually talk about feelings, because you see me doing physical stuff. I think if I wasn't doing in such, physically demanding jobs, I'd probably have to be a little bit more macho on dates and stuff like that. So I am a man, please treat me as such.
Yeah.
Whereas, go up with somebody now, like, hey, what do you do? Bartender, I sling kegs over my shoulder,
Yeah.
make drinks all the time, and I'm on my feet 40 hours a week. And, it's like, all right, that's it. Let's talk about real things now instead of, I've proved I'm a man. I don't,
The thing is, like, you shouldn't have to prove that you're a dude. I mean, and I don't know. I'm sure I'm guilty of it too.
yeah, I mean, it's just been in my experience, if you're, like when I was just in college and wasn't doing anything besides going to school, and you're trying to date somebody, oh, you're gonna be an engineer, you're gonna sit in an office all day. Okay, where's a football player?
Yeah, but engineers make good money. I mean,
But at that age, nobody's thinking about that.
Yeah.
And-
so you're saying like things reinforce that, like in theory, like you shouldn't have to be all these things, but when you are asking someone out on a date and they're like, oh well, you're not a football player, or you don't look like this, or then they're off. So those are things that we need to just pay attention to, because we all play a role in this. So often you read about how like men need to do better and they need to do this. Da, 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 da. It's like, well, also we need to reinforce that it's okay to be and do these other things that aren't allegedly masculine or whatever. I think it's people that are upholding these ancient standards, these outdated standards of who a person is. I think that's all of it, kind of boils down to that, is that we're all trying to keep up the facade of oppression. Or just, I don't know, man. It makes me, because I was thinking about, like, with racism, it's the same thing. It's upholding this oppression. When people are, like within communities of color, there's issues of colorism within that community. So if you're lighter skinned, then you are on a higher pillar than someone that has darker skin. And depending on what culture you're in, it means if you are more fair skinned, it means you are doing more inside work. And if you are darker skin, that means you are doing more outside labor intensive work, and then you are less than. So it's everyone that we need to check ourselves. If we find ourselves in a situation and we utter that word, he's not this, or he's not that, or that's not masculine, like, we need to check that in ourselves. I mean, that's all we can ever do. It's just we all start out as trash, and then we need to work ourselves forward into being better. I think that's all any of us can really do, is to just kind of keep an eye out on our perceptions of things.
And I think there's double standards. I mean, Beard is expected to be masculine, and I'm expected to be quiet and not talk a lot.
Demure.
Yes, which I'm not. But listen. But I mean, I was thinking about this when you asked if I want to talk about dating. It's, I can't text a guy first or reach out to him first, because then I'm saying, then I'm saying it's like too aggressive.
No.
If I respond immediately to a text message, like, I don't have you read all these articles, like don't respond immediately. Like, it's a stupid game. It's a bunch of horse shit.
Yes.
Like, take off all these, preconceived layers of society about how you're supposed to act, and just like, show me who you are.
Yeah.
After,
be yourself.
Right. Well, after I was told that I was too high energy and whatever. No, this might sound weird. One of my best friends I met on eHarmony. He and I met. We decided like not to actually pursue a relationship, but we're really good friends. And after, I tell him about all my dates, and he keeps me, updated on all his stuff. But after I was told that I was too high energy, I called him and I was just like, am I any different in person than I was through text messages and phone calls? And he was like, no, you're not. So I'm being real. I'm showing you who I am. So just do everyone a favor and show me who you are. I mean, I don't give a shit that you don't go out and chop wood every day. Like, it's cool if you're an engineer, or like if you swim every day. I don't know. I don't care. Just as long as you're a good, genuine person.
And you're doing something, you're progressing.
Yeah.
Right.
Be yourself.
Yeah.
Right.
Don't sit at home. if you can get paid to sit at home all day, that's great.
Hey,
Well,
that's yeah.
like that's my kind of thing.
Where do I sign up? You know what you were saying about how like you have to you have to navigate who texts first and that
yes.
sort of thing.
Bunch of
Well,
horseshit.
it's kind of dawned on me. Here's a telltale sign of, that this is actually going to become something is when you're both just kind of geeked to
Oh, yeah.
talk to each other. You're like
Right.
texting all day long. There is no, I texted first last time. It's like, no, hey, what are you doing? Like, how's your day? Like, what's going on?
Right.
That's when you know that it's not just games. Like, you're actually kind of,
Yeah, if I'm into somebody and I get a text from them, I'm like, let's send it right
Yeah.
back to them.
I don't
Yeah.
wait like 2.5 hours for the appropriate time to respond.
There's times when you can't do that, if you're at
Yeah.
work and just, indisposed other ways. But,
Yeah.
whenever you're available, cool. I just got a text from you. Let's send back. There's no point in waiting.
Right.
Unless I'm trying to think of something to say, which
Yeah.
if I'm having to think of something to say,
It's not exactly
I'm
right.
not going to go anywhere.
but
Well,
no.
and I feel like too, I mean, if it has been a couple hours, if I've gotten a text message and it's been a few hours before I respond, I always say, hey, so sorry, I got caught up at work,
Yeah.
or hey, like I've been hanging out with the family or something to let them know that I'm not just ignoring them. And maybe that's why I'm single.
But then but then like our anxiety gets the best of us when we don't get that instant response.
Right.
Where we're like, oh God, like they hate me. Like, so you just go down this
Dude,
whole
hashtag America, like instant gratification. I mean, I think it's hard to date now because again, we just have all these options and there's all these outlets. I mean, even like you can talk on Snapchat, Instagram, and Facebook, and then there's all these stupid dating apps. I mean,
I miss the old days of a phone call.
yeah,
Like, you want to talk
Yes.
to somebody you're not in person with?
Yes.
Pick up the phone.
pick up the phone.
love-
Not a cell
I love
phone.
talking
Pick
on
up the
the
phone
phone.
with a cord on it.
I don't know if they make those anymore, but
I've not seen that.
but I mean, no, I too love talking on the phone, and people think I'm weird, but
I mean, if I'm
I
gonna be driving
enjoy
for a while,
it.
I'll find somebody to talk to sometimes. Other times
Yeah.
I just want to crank the radio and go. But
yeah.
yeah.
I want to have that meaningful conversation. And sometimes it's easier to call someone and put my phone in my back pocket and pop in some earbuds and like
Yes.
do some dishes or do some laundry. Because I mean, texting, I don't know about y'all, but I have to use both hands and I'm a really bad texter. So it takes me, I mean, I make up words a lot. So I mean, it takes me a little bit longer, I feel like, to respond to
Yeah.
text messages when we could just have that. We
It was
just
a
have
conversation. Like, can I just call you? I'm over this text conversation that's
Right.
going on, these back and forth paragraphs. Can we just talk in real
Yeah,
time?
and like my thumbs are gonna fall off. I'm
Right.
gonna get that arthritis.
My baby, my arthritis is
phone.
kicking in. I can't do all this
Yeah.
texting.
Or like if you're texting late at night, I'm like, listen, I'm in bed. Can we just like call and talk on the phone for a little bit? Because looking at that screen in
so
a dark
bright.
room, it's so bright.
Yeah.
And you can only turn it down so much.
What I have found, so I've been on dating sites, and they usually end up being nothing. There's been a few people that I've gone out on a couple multiple dates with, but it always just kind of like fizzles out. It's mostly been people that I have met in person, like on a whim, or people that maybe I've kind of known or seen around town or whatever. It seems like I know a lot of people have had a success with like Match or whatever. Like, oh, I met my husband, I met my wife, da 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 da. But
yeah.
like, great
That's
for
great.
you.
Good for
That
you.
sounds like an anomaly still, though. But granted, in a small town, it is kind of hard to get out and meet new people because there isn't all of these, different, channels to do so, like there is in a larger city. But I've been surprised by how many people I've been able to at least like kind of have at least a short term dating or relationship situation, more so than with apps. And so it begs the question of, how many folks, like I kind of want to hear from people, what's been your dating situation? Like, have you found that it's been, you've had more success with people you've met in person versus on apps? Like I don't know what's going on. Again, our perspective may be a little different with being in a small town. Because here when I get on the app, so my options are just horrendous.
Well, I've already said no to you once.
I'm tired of saying no to you. So yeah, like being queer, my options are definitely more limited. That's for damn sure. But also, being Black, being a person of color, like I wonder how much of that plays a role in it as well, because In other cities, I think I've mentioned this on a show before, in other cities, I fare better on these apps where I get more dings than I do in Tennessee. I don't know what's up. I'm like, I don't look any different from state to state.
Yeah.
If you're judging it based on photos or whatever. But I don't know, man.
See, and I have that. I know someone's going to say something to me about this, and I have like 3 people in mind who are going to say something first.
Do
it. But I mean, but then I have the opposite problem, and it's not a problem, but like being a blonde hair, blue eyed like girl from Tennessee, you know, dudes reach out. I think with the intention of maybe meeting to hook up, like not actually wanting something because blonde hair, blue eyes. Sure, why not? Like, you know, I don't know. And I know I don't know. It's not necessarily a problem, but I feel like it's.
Well, you get like unwanted attention. Mm-hmm. Like I have friends that, you know, they're always kind of having to fend off like just unwanted attention or like just advances that are like out of nowhere. It's like, can we have a conversation? Why are you pulling up next to me and putting your fingers in my mouth? I just.
It's always my problem.
I swear to God, if someone do that to me, I'm pretty sure I just bite them off.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's definitely like 7, 8, 12 dates down the road.
It's so
In the shower, maybe.
It's just a strange way to like. I don't know.
Okay.
We're about
No. It does work if you do it right. I'm just saying.
Okay. I just have this grotesque like vision.
He did it wrong.
Yeah.
He was like shoving his fingers all weird into her mouth. Like, I'm just saying.
You'll have to like once we're done with this, you're gonna explain it to me. Because
I'm just saying it happened to me once, and it was kind of off guard in the sense that I kind of had a feeling like something was brewing. Again, this wasn't even a date. It was more like, we're hanging out, but I was getting vibes. I was like, what? And, things started happening, and next thing I know, I'm like, oh. But
Oh.
Well, here's the difference. They didn't put their fingers in my mouth. They put my fingers in their mouth. So it's a difference. Which is really weird.
Yep. They're eating your germs instead of vice versa.
Not everybody's that dirty all the time.
Well, listen, I mean,
I'm just saying, like, I think what happened in his scenario is like he's trying to like be all smooth and safe, but he's just doing it completely like
blessed.
Wrong.
He's a blessed. I mean, that's what he is.
Blessed.
Like, honey, that is not how you court a woman, by sticking your fingers in her mouth.
No.
So, and that's what, brings us back full circle is that, like, my God, do men not know how to court? Do they not understand that no one wants an unsolicited dick pic? Like, do they not realize that?
Yeah. When I first got on online dating, when a man would ask for my phone number, I would be like, I mean, sure. And I wouldn't give it to him just like after the first conversation. But I wish I still had my Match account because I could probably pull up these messages. But I would say, yeah, that's fine. I said, but like, I don't want to see your junk. That is not why we're swapping phone numbers, and I'm not going to send you mine. Right. So, like, if you're just hoping to swap some pics, you need to like move on. And most of them were like, no, that's not what I'm here for. And that was true. But some of them were like, all right, see you, bye. I'm like,
yeah, see ya, weirdo.
I'm just like,
why? Keep it to yourself. I don't want to see it. I don't.
Like, I'm sure that works for some people. I don't know because so many people do it.
Women do it too. One of my, swear to God. So, okay, so maybe this is why I'm single, because most of the men that I meet on eHarmony, like, I'm friends with. And one of my friends, he does not live here, but he and I always swap dating stories because his are just way worse than mine because he lives in a bigger city. So, his options are just way higher than mine. And he says too that women will just send him like pictures of their tits or other areas of their body. I'm like, who?
Like unsolicited, just like you're sitting you're getting your morning coffee at work, and all of a sudden you're like, bling, like,
hello.
I hope no one walked by.
Good morning. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. I am not in the mood for that.
And I mean, I guess it works for some people, but like that is not why I'm on dating websites. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not. Plus, I mean, my dad, and this, not that this is dating advice, but I remember, years and years and years ago, before like Facebook was a thing and all that stuff, he always told us, be aware of like what you put out there, because even if you delete it, like it could come back and haunt
it's
you.
somewhere.
Yeah, he's like, it's in,
Somebody's
the
got a copy of
interwebs,
it on
outer
some-
space somewhere.
Some
Right.
hard drive somewhere.
Yeah. So, I mean,
Someone's got your old MySpace blogs.
oh my God.
That's depressing to look at.
Or what
Your
was- there
live
was-
journal.
there was Live Journal and there was something else. But,
There's a few years back, I ran across someone just kind of posted. She was. It's almost like when you wake up, you're like, oh God! Like you wake up in a cold sweat, like, oh God, my live journal is still live. All that angst is just still
it's just
sitting
floating
there.
out there for people to read. Gosh, this is why we need to go back to like pencils and notebooks and
Yeah.
just.
That's why you don't stalk a date before you go out with them, especially if you meet them online.
Oh
And then
God.
you Facebook stalk, and then you're like, oh, I've got your Facebook. Let's see where else you're at on the internet.
Yeah, I don't.
I want to. I do want to know. Like, who are you? Are you a serial killer? Like, what's going on?
Like, are you dating somebody and you hadn't told me yet?
Right. Yeah. Are you,
But I
still married?
Are you
Let's
still
have
married?
that conversation.
It's only happened twice.
Yeah,
To me.
I don't know.
But it feels like the art of dating and courting has gone out the window.
in the shitter.
Yeah, like it just does not exist. Like, and so when it does happen and people are so thrown off and think that you're being too clingy or too forward or weird, they're like, what? Why are you calling me? Why do you want to talk to me? I'm like, I don't know, because we're dating or we're courting. Like,
Or something. Yeah.
quit being a weirdo.
Let's hang out. Let's see each other.
Right. Let's get to know each other, not just through text messages or,
Right.
through whatever. I mean, I want face to face, or, if they live a whiles away, like, conversations on the phone. I don't survive on text message conversations.
Yeah.
And maybe because I'm high maintenance. But I mean, but even like, my girlfriends, I call them, if I've got, because I mean, most of those conversations are not 10 minutes. I mean, if I've got some time, I'm like, call a girlfriend to talk about what's going on. But I do think that, courting and dating has gone to the wayside, because again, if a dude opens up my car door or sends me flowers, like he's showing emotion.
yeah.
And why would you do that?
Yeah.
No, I've done it.
Yeah.
Well, good for you.
I mean, I haven't done it to everybody I've dated, but
Right.
Yeah.
there's been times where there was enough attachment, even within the first like month or so. I'm like, hey, let's do this.
Yeah. It's funny how like the times that I have like not been total trash with someone that I was seeing, and like I've been nice and I wrote them a letter, or that kind of like cute little stuff. Like it's
love
like they're
that cute
completely
shit.
turned off by it.
Yeah.
And then it's all over. I'm like, what the hell? The one time that I'm actually nice, like this is why I'm not nice.
Right. I mean,
Or like it's not that I'm not nice. Like this is why I'm just not like thoughtful in that way, because the times that I am,
kind of callous.
I'm callous. Like it's.
I had someone send me a message on eHarmony months ago, and he's like, "Hey, I like your profile, and it seems really upbeat." And compared to like most people on here, and I was like, "Dude, it is not." I mean, I deleted a bunch of stuff because I'm just over it, and it takes everything in me not to write like,
Yeah, those words.
awful things in my profile. I'd be like, if you're just looking for a hookup, you can basically just jump up and bust.
And you're still gonna have a lot of people try to jump on that, because I'm gonna be the guy that she says yes to.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, eHarmony used to do this thing when I first signed up, where it was like 3 or 4 different stages before you could even message that person. And so like you sent like 5 questions, and that person responded, and you sent 5 more questions back. And then like they had this kind of process, which I really liked. And they've taken that away. Like now men can directly message me, and most of the time they don't even message. They just like hit the smiley face button.
Oh
Like,
God.
oh my God. Put some effort into it.
Yeah, I'm not
I
gonna
mean-
respond to that.
And I don't most of the time.
Jesus Christ.
I mean, sometimes I do, and I feel bad when I don't. It makes me feel bad to block somebody, but
Man, if they're not gonna put forth more effort, they're not
right.
worth
And
it.
if your profile has nothing on it, like I can't even get an idea of if you're someone I might date.
That's why I still prefer meeting people the old-fashioned way, even if it's if you're gonna go weeks without meeting somebody new, or months.
Right.
especially with my job, I meet new people every week,
Exactly.
Yeah.
but don't want to use my job as a way to.
Right.
It's a fine line to walk sometimes because
Yeah.
if they've been a regular there for many years, nope, you're off limits.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unless
That's fair. Yeah.
unless we run into you outside of work and
Yeah.
we sit and we chat a little bit, and then hey, next week when I'm off work again, if you want to hang out, that'd be cool. If not, I completely understand.
Yeah.
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 Don't be weird when you come to the bar.
Yeah.
Don't be sending those googly eyes to Beard 'cause it's not welcome.
It's not welcome.
Hey, wait. Says who?
Like, wait a minute, this is not what I signed up for. But again, I mean, I don't want to go to Nashville or Knoxville or wherever and like have to meet a dude in a bar. I mean, I don't want to meet him. I don't know. Again, this is
Well, no, that's where you can go to meetups. You can meet people doing different activities. Honey,
people actually
meetups.com.
do
Oh,
that?
yeah. I met it.
okay.
well,
See, now that makes me like super anxious. Just like meeting.
Meetup?
Yeah.
It's a big group of people.
No,
So it's safe.
most of them don't already know each other either.
Oh, not
Yeah.
like in like a I'm gonna get kidnapped, but just
No.
I mean, just
No, it's
like
You're going to go to a gym and everybody's going to do rock climbing for a day, except there's
Yeah.
like 20 to 40 people of you there. Nobody, I mean, I'm sure a few people have met each other before, but the majority of them
Yeah.
signed up to make friends.
Yeah. And do an activity that they enjoy.
Yeah.
okay.
So that you've already got something you can talk about.
Yeah. So there's rock climbing ones, there's hiking ones. There's every city usually has that like fun 20 and 30 somethings, and they just go out and do activities. Usually if there's some kind of like city event or community event, they'll kind of meet up
Yeah.
someplace and then kind of roam about together or do bowling nights, like that sort of thing.
Okay.
But that didn't happen in Cookville, so
Might be a market there.
I know. I've thought
Listen,
about it.
I don't even know if I want to.
But then I don't want to deal with the people that would show up.
I was not gonna say that out loud, but thank
Hey,
you.
y'all, a lot of interesting folks here tonight.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing too. Like, what if you do go to Nashville and do one of those group things, and I don't know, just
I think you're overthinking it.
have you met me? It's what I
Yeah.
do.
And you need to work on that. Just go, live a little. The times that I have gotten outside of myself and done something that made me feel like something that was very uncomfortable to me, and I just went and did it, I was all the better for doing it. And just being like, God, why was I being such a little punk about that?
Well, that is my goal this year is to try something new every month.
Oh, good. You
So this is my January. Whoop, whoop.
January doing a podcast.
Yeah.
Next month, you're going to go and do a meetup. Yep.
Ooh, and then we can talk about it.
You can talk about it.
Oh, if you'd have to do it too.
Honey, I've been doing it. Like, yeah, I'll go. Whatever. Linda, honey, baby, what are you doing?
What are you doing?
What are you doing? Beer, do you have one? Do you have a honey?
Give me a second.
All right. Beth, you got a honey?
Yeah.
Do it.
So I'm driving. God, I really do sound like I'm like obsessed with my family. But I was driving. Okay, so I was driving to my parents' house today. I had spent the night with my friend that broke her leg. I was going to pick up my dog, and I'm driving up Buck Mountain Road, and I see this person walking on the side of like my side of the road. And it was right over a hill, so I couldn't go around them. I mean, Buck Mountain's kind of funky anyway. I mean, you can't really always see stuff. And I just thought, oh my God, y'all, Linda, honey, like teach your children on what side of the road they're supposed to walk. Like we learned this in first grade at Allgood Elementary School in the auditorium. And I think there was like an otter riding like a bicycle or something. And they taught you to ride with the traffic and walk against the traffic because he didn't know that I was coming.
Right.
You know,
Oh, he was walking away. Like he was facing. Like you could have just mowed him down.
Yeah.
Oh God.
So
honey.
he was just on the wrong side of the road, and there's no sidewalks there. Like if there's a sidewalk, that's cool.
Yeah.
But know what side of the road you're supposed to be on. I mean, runners, cyclers, like y'all need to know, be aware. It's part of walking on the road. It's just knowing what side you're supposed to be on. It's for your safety and for mine. Because if I had gone around him where I was, I mean, I couldn't see. So it puts me in danger. It puts him in danger. It's a wicked pet peeve. I mean, it drives me crazy. It's not that big of a deal, but it drives me insane. I just want to be like, hey, listen.
You kind of want to like No, don't tap him with your car. It's
But
like,
it
this
is-
is a lesson
just
for
right
you.
there, get his elbow just a hair.
It is ride with, walk against. That's how you know. You ride with the traffic, you walk against it. So all y'all listening out there, teach your children how to be safe on the road. I'm serious. I mean, it's my job too to be a safe driver, and I am.
Better living through common sense.
Oh God, let's have a conversation about that.
That's a whole podcast.
Lack thereof of common sense.
Right, I got my honey now.
All right.
Oh boy.
And it's not
Weird.
even an individual that I witness. It's just the groups.
Yeah.
We're supposed to get snow tonight. Grocery stores are empty. There's no milk. There's no bread. I'm like, and there's no eggs. Like eggs, I get.
Yeah.
But why do you need so much milk and bread? Because we're going to get a couple inches of snow.
Right.
I mean, I've got at my house right now, I've got a week's worth of food. If I
Yeah.
do happen to get snowed in, also a week's worth of beer, but that's a normal Sunday.
Bourbon.
Stock up.
Yeah.
And so it's like going to the grocery store. Like I wanted to go today.
Yeah.
This afternoon, and I was like, "There's no way I'm going because we're getting snow tomorrow. I'm
Yeah.
gonna go tomorrow in the snow. The place will be dead, and there'll be like two loaves of bread, 1
Yeah.
gallon of milk, and like 6 eggs.
But also, like, we've known this was coming.
Yeah.
Like, we knew that Monday is a
Yeah,
low.
but-
No, the low tomorrow is supposed to be
Yeah, but these
1.
people still always wait. I mean, you
Yeah.
could be forecasted out like weeks in advance. Like once weather forecasting gets that good,
It's true.
we're gonna get 10 inches of snow on Sunday, whatever day. That Saturday beforehand, grocery stores are gonna be empty, even if they stocked up. Knowing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just like, learn to prepare better. I mean, be an adult, I guess, and have food at your house.
Honey, be an adult.
Be an adult.
Well, I was guilty of that this past Friday, but only because I was supposed to be out of town this weekend, so I didn't really buy groceries. And then we got all that snow.
There's ice on the roads Friday.
Well, I
night.
went to Aldi hoping that they wouldn't be like super crazy, but they closed early, and there was nobody there at 5:00. So I went to the Kroger.
Oh.
And I actually saw like a handful of people that I knew. I was like, yeah, you're doing the same thing I'm doing. We're both prepared.
We're getting our disaster toast. That's what I heard it called because those are all the ingredients for French toast. Milk, eggs, and breads, and disaster. I'm like, oh my God. Yes.
I like
I want
it.
some
Yeah, I was
disaster
like French
toast.
toast in the morning now.
Yep. What's your
My honey is so I'm gonna need whatever I need people to just not be terrible at their jobs. So last week friends who were in Hawaii got an alert that there was a
Oh yeah.
missile crisis.
Yeah.
Take cover.
all of Hawaii was flipping.
I mean, I would too because Korea is just right there. Yeah, everything that's been going on in the news, on Twitter. These conversations back and forth between these leaders of these countries, and so it felt totally like it was possible. But it come to find out, it was just someone oh, I hit the wrong button during my shift change. Honey,
dude.
honey, do you know how many heart attacks you caused? How many strokes? How many people have called their mother and just being so
love
this
you,
is
bye.
this is it.
When people lost their job because they got drunk.
Right,
Got 30 minutes.
Jesus
Turn it up.
Christ. I couldn't even imagine what would be going through your head. I can myself because things just don't register to me. I probably would have gotten that text and be like, wait, what?
I would have said a lot of choice words.
Yeah, but I mean, but it took all of 30 minutes for there to be
This is a drill.
oh, by the way, sorry, this was an accident or whatever.
No. I feel like if you can hit the wrong button in a second, you should be able to
Right.
fix it in
The
a
problem is he
second.
was getting off work, so he hit the button and left.
Right? He's like, bye.
But then
He's like, there's a missile coming. I got to get out of here.
He was literally bye.
shouldn't his phone have gone off too and be like, oh shit, I hit the red button.
Well, I'm sure it did, and that's when he's like, well, there goes my career.
Yep, I'm done.
Jeez.
But it's like, also, honey, why is the button that accessible?
Why can you actually hit it with like your cup of
That
coffee
should
in the
be a
morning?
2 or 3 step process.
Like, lock it up. Okay, let's lock this button up.
In
There should be
movies
a
where
key
they have
and then a
right.
code.
Yeah,
And
something.
then somebody else needs to come in and authorize your code.
Yeah. A little glass box. I mean,
So what I've read has happened is that now it's like a 2-step authentication for
are
something
you
to get.
sure this is happening? Oh my God, yes.
Someone else has to come in and like vouch for it.
Where'd you hear about this? I hadn't heard anything.
What are you talking about? But yeah, like, good night. That I'm to the folks that were there and on vacation or living there that got that message. But I am so sorry. Bless your heart. I don't.
Bless it.
My God, I could not imagine. I would still be like recovering from that.
Oh, yeah.
My heart bursting out of my chest, thinking like, "Well, really? Is this how I die?"
Yeah.
Let's find a good viewing
But then
spot.
also too, like the next
Jesus
time,
Christ.
like if they ever get that warning again, are they gonna believe it or
Right.
not? Like, oh, it's just a drill. No, it's not. Like, I mean, not that you can really take cover, but you need to get somewhere.
Yeah.
Don't just stand there and look for it.
But it's like, what do you even do? Like, what is it? The nuclear drills that you had in school.
Oh, duck and
like,
cover.
Yeah, duck and cover. I'm like, yeah, and kiss your ass goodbye. Like,
Look away from the windows. You don't want to see
Right.
the flash.
yeah,
Right.
like,
Because that's the last thing you'll ever see.
yeah. I'm like,
yeah,
that's,
or your body's gonna get melted to the chair that you're hiding under.
I mean, it's just as long as it happens like quickly. I guess I don't know, man.
I think I'd
just
rather
wanna
go out in
be
the
fast.
explosion than wait 2 weeks with the radiation.
Yeah, I'll just be like, oh man, what? That is so wild. Like, you could just see us like sitting out looking out a window, like,
Oh,
what?
yeah.
I don't know.
Everybody's at Father Time,
we're
just
go-
waiting for it to happen.
We're going to the pub. Drinks on the house. Unless we don't get destroyed, in which case you got to pay.
You gotta put-
I want that in writing. Just saying. Beard said I could have it. It's
said
not
this
my
is
fault
free.
that
They dropped the bomb, like I can have a free drink.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I'm here for my free drinks. We have like a coupon. I'm here for my free drink. I survived.
oh God.
All right, my
We're
friends.
horrible people.
All right, friends. Appreciate you coming in and talking
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Thanks for
All that
having
good
us
stuff.
out.
To continue the conversation, or if you have a question or you want us to help you get your life together, send us an email at coupleoflindas@gmail.com. We're also on Facebook at Couple of Lindas. As well as, tell your friends. If you enjoyed this episode, share this with your friends. Post about why you liked it. I know some people will like share the link, but then don't explain it. So if you could just like write a little note
Use your words.
about what and why you're sharing the post. Appreciate it. Thank you for listening, and we will see you next time on A Couple of Lindas.